And I don't know if people can access it straight from this, or if they have to go to the YouTube URL or not.
Yeah, those who are watching can just watch it on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Well, I notified Twitter and I updated community.plone.org, so hopefully everyone that wants to get in can get in. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Should we give? I'll give like 1 more minute and then we'll start. Sorry, 10 minutes late now here. Now I'm really not going to be able to get done in an hour.
Talk fast.
Yeah.
Talk like the guys at the end of the drug commercials, listing all the side effects.
Yeah, not going to happen. All right. Well, let's start. I guess this meeting is just to kind of get the UI UX team restarted. It hasn't been working out very well lately, and we're going to try a different direction on it. And it's been a while since we've had a chat with a lot of the community on what we've been up to and what's been going on. And we had that Sorrento sprint, and it kind of felt appropriate to put together this hangout. And Plone 5 Beta 2 is, I think it's ready. I think Steve just made the installer for it, but I don't know if it's a formal release has been made on plone.org or anything. But that's where we'll want to be playing with right now if you want an easy way to play with Plone. And if you go to plone.org, you can download the beta. There's a Vagrant install. It's for that if you're on Mac or Windows, you have to use the Vagrant install. Otherwise, on Linux, there's still the unified installer. If you want to, I think that the existing beta on plone.org is like the beta 1. So if you want the latest, you might have to change the version config for the latest released until they put a new installer on there. And other things, the purpose of this is kind of to show you where we're at, what problems we're aware of, but just haven't had time to or don't know how to fix yet, or need community agreement on how we address them. I'll try not. We're not going to spend too much time discussing. This is going to be a brief overview. Plone 5 is getting close, but there's just like a lot of niggling things that need to be done. I know a lot of people are using it on production servers or live sites. And where mockup and patterns lib is, for those of you interested in the JavaScript side of all this, mockup has kind of turned into less of a reusable framework outside of Plone. We're kind of just going to use it to focus on mostly Plone widgets, and anything that should be used outside of Plone is probably going to be best put in patterns lib. And mockup right now is using patterns lib, like the patterns lib registry and JC, you want to help? What else are we using from patterns lib?
The registry and the parser. On myself now a little bit. Basically, they all run now on the same core infrastructure, and the patterns are just it's just a different collection of patterns. And we currently still use a separate parser for mockup, but we have because that's not so easy to replace. But we have let's say an upgrade path for that. So the main point is that you can run mockup patterns patterns outside of Plone if they don't rely on anything inside Plone somehow specifically. If it's just, let's say a very simple JavaScript pattern, you can run it anywhere outside as well if you have patterns.lib installed. And you can also run patterns.lib core patterns, patterns from patterns.lib in Plone. And previously it wasn't possible to do that.
Yeah, it's really kind of important because there was no reason to have the divergence between the two libraries. It just little things that you just need to. Maybe we didn't care for how something was done, or Rock I think made a decision that he didn't like one part of it or something like that. But it's okay to just make a compromise on a design choice to get more community involvement.
I think both projects, the code for both of us have actually improved from through this process. I created Mockup has this concept of the base pattern, which is a lot like a backbone model that you extend and add your own stuff to, and then you just automatically have this proper context. This variable of your pattern has all these nice. It automatically has the DOM element and stuff like that tied to it, and that's something that patterns didn't have. So I, for example, backported that. I think it was overall a good thing. I mean, it was annoying that this fork happened, but in a way, it also allowed people to experiment, put it that way. And now that we've merged, we've kind of taken the best parts out of both projects and put it into one thing. So that's something good that came out of it.
All right, thanks. Hold on, I just noticed a tweet that I need to find the broadcasting URL for this. Maybe if I go on YouTube, it'll show me.
Chrissy pasted something now. The URL.
Yeah, that should be it.
Chrissy, you want to be in charge of the community relations of this Hangout?
Yeah, I'm trying to follow the Hangout page.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, JC. And then in other news, Plone.org is getting a revamp, a really nice new theme and reorganization, and hopefully clean up a lot of the stuff. It's been kind of it's been hard to maintain and contribute to, and we have packages on Plone.org and then packages on PyPy, and imagine the idea is to not do packages on Plone.org anymore, so we don't have to maintain two spots, less work. And the new Plone.com is pretty cool. Nice to finally have that done after years of start and stopping that. I think, yeah, so we're moving on some of those fronts, which is really nice. And then as far as the UI team goes, we were kind of looking for a leader, and previously we kind of used people who were either good coders or people who, I don't know, did a lot of stuff within Plone core, but I'm not sure that's always the best way, because you kind of take them away from doing other stuff, and just because we're good at contributing to Plone core doesn't mean we're good at organizing a Hangout and this sort of thing. Peter's saying that it's still for... There's got to be a way for me to get the live URL here. It says I'm live. Sorry, guys. Well, the next time we do anything like this, we'll know, I guess. My channel. Yeah, here we go. I think this will be it. you guys want to share this out, I think that's the URL.
Yeah, I can see it on YouTube.
Oh, sorry about this. Next time, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so we're talking about the new team leader. So Brian has lots of experience with more team management, and he's been through leadership training. And we think he'd be well equipped for this. He's also a designer, an artist. He does. He's into art even outside of web related or technology related. He does some woodworking and plastics and comic book stuff. He's got a wide range of interests, and he's a good guy. And known him for a while. He worked at the university when I was there, and I think he'd be a good fit for organizing a team and helping the rest of us to fix and manage UI UX related stuff going forward. So with that, Brian, would you like to take it over for a little bit and talk?
Sure. Thanks, Nathan. I think Nathan covered everything. I guess some of the things that I'm working on right now is sort of the itinerary on sort of a direction to go, and I need to find a really good way to get people involved. It's that people that might want to be involved, and I was thinking maybe IRC channel. Anybody who might want to be interested in joining and helping out, by all means, get a hold of me. Let's see, I guess I can drop my email here. It would help. So, I'm cool with that, and I think, together we can sort of, help, get Plone 5 useful for the user community. I talked with Eric Steele a couple weeks ago about, what he was looking for out of the group as well, and it was sort of to be an advocate for the end user, I think was kind of the overall goal, and so to be able to communicate that back to the developers, hey, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't work, that sort of thing, not necessarily fix problems so much as be able to communicate those back. So finding a good way to communicate back with you guys would be useful. So I guess communication is something I have a question on or need to figure out, but I think that's really about it.
Do you want to say anything about a call for team members? Like, if anybody interested can.
Yeah, right. Anybody can contact me. I'm gonna get on the IRC channel as well, and just put out a call and have a meeting, and see who wants to show up. So if you're interested, I put my email address in there. Please email me, and I'll add you to the list, and we'll get something going.
Do you want to put your Twitter handle in here too?
Yeah, I'll have to start using it more. Everything is B. Ludwell with me. Bloodwell.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be on the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, count me in too.
Rob, and all right. So drop your names in here. So I don't know everybody, but
okay. And I'll go over. All right, since introductions and explanations and overviews are all done now, I'm going to go over a demo of kind of where we're at with Plone 5 and kind of just talk through at least the things that we're aware of. I've been kind of paying attention to most things that have been brought up in issue trackers and stuff like that. So I think I'm aware of most of the stuff that's been identified, but if there's additional things too that I missed, I guess you can bring it up quickly. But this should hopefully get your gears running as far as like thinking of how to solve some of these things, or if you're interested in fixing some of these things, that'd be cool too. All right, so now hopefully this doesn't break when I share my screen. No, I don't want to do it like that. All right, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This is just a base Plone 5 site. I added a little bit of content. and this is on master. So there are some things that are fixed here that on beta 2 are not. I'm sorry for that, guys, but it's just the way it is. Things that have been, in some respects, some things have been changing quite a bit lately on master. So first thing is the new theme. It looks. Is it going to switch every single time I do this? Here, hold on. Let me move this over to a new screen so I can look at my itinerary at the same time. Okay. Sunburst theme, new fresh look. It's pretty nice. A much more modern design than the last one, and it's good to give us a fresh look. One of the issues with it right now, though, is it's built with Grunt. So if you copy it through the file system, or if you go into the theme editor and you copy it, you won't be able to edit the less files and make those changes persistent right away. You just have to edit the actual compiled CSS, which might be okay for some, but I think before we can ship Plone 5, we'll need that to be copyable and edit the less files directly and be able to recompile it from the editor and everything. I think some of the styles are a little too bootstrappy. If you look at, like, for instance, history, I think, I don't know, the buttons maybe, or we'll need someone to think about it some more, but I don't know if we want to look too much like Bootstrap. We do have we have pulled out some of the styles from Bootstrap, the Bootstrap framework, to use in it and kind of customized it, but we don't want to look too much like it. And we've had a lot of colors and contrast and font size as comments, especially with the toolbar, and even in content. Readability-wise, people have brought up comments that it's been a problem. So we need someone to rethink some of the styles for readability-wise, and make sure that it's pleasant for the user. And we got a sort of revamped live search widget now. It's pretty much like the same thing. The structure, HTML structure, is a lot better than the old one, so it's easier to style. And we'll need some testing to make sure that works with accessibility, because it's all JavaScript. And the search results is a little bit different, but everything is Ajax, and the URL bar still, I think Plone 4 would do this too, but with the Ajax it still updates, so you can copy and paste the URL still. And there's still filtering. And then for editing content, there's a lot of new widgets, and there's a new TinyMCE, new tags widget, lots of new stuff that for users will want to get their opinions on if there's any problems with. TinyMCE is, the new one is very nice, and it gives you a much more modern look. And now we're using kind of more plain TinyMCE, so upgrading is not going to be such a pain like it used to be. It shouldn't be such a problem dealing with TinyMCE compatibility issues like we used to have. So, for formats, new in Plone 5, all you have to do is provide a CSS file, and it'll automatically detect the styles provided in that CSS file. You don't have to provide any configuration. It's just a CSS file, and it'll automatically pull them in here as some styles you can apply to text.
I'm sorry, Nathan, can you explain that again, please?
So, like in TinyMCE, Plone always provided a way where you could give your own custom styles that apply to elements, and you'd have to set up these styles in like the TinyMCE configuration. And now in your theme, all you do is need to specify a setting in the theme, and as for a CSS file, that TinyMC just reads it in, detects all the styles in it, and automatically pulls these in like this.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
It's easier. And let me see if there's anything specific that I want to go through in TinyMC. Linking is got a completely new dialog for searching items in the site. This is our related items widget replacement. So it does live search as you're going, and you can kind of traverse through. Maybe traverse is a bad word to use here, but you can browse through folders in line here, and then it will when searching, will only search the current folder you're in, and it provides breadcrumbs for where you are. So you can still go back to the root, or you can click on this little button here to give you a list of all the folders, and you can specifically click on one to search through that one specifically if you don't know the name of it and you just need to browse through it, the site. And you can upload files directly right here. Let's say we just want to link to there. We want to link to the same page, do we? Let's link to events. And inserting images. Let's do an upload. So there is some styling issues with the upload widget too that I think need to get worked out. Just especially when you have a lot of items, scrolling gets a little weird too. And I'm going to say I want to upload this to images. And that's another thing that I think is identified is after you upload it, immediately it should just automatically add the image instead of having to go back in and select it. But there you have it. There's the image. And let's go back to a smaller size. Can get to the left maybe and save it. There we go. I didn't go through everything though. So that was just TinyMC. There's also tags, and you just type in new tags to add them or add existing ones like that. We went over the related items, but it's very easy to just select related items. Much faster experience. We're using a new date widget also.
Sorry, are the related items sortable?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Drag and drop.
Oh, cool.
And creators and contributors now gives you a list of active users. I don't have any other users on the site. I should have added them for the demo, but at least lets you select existing ones. Because before you had to like remember their username. Yeah, those are the basic widgets in the edit form. And any quick comments where we're at right now, guys, or should I just keep plunging through?
It's looking great.
Yeah. Keep going.
All right. I guess before I move on, I'll show you some of the different views. So this is the portlet view, the homepage view. And you go to news. This is the news view right now. We need to think about like this, like the image should probably be floated to the left or something like that, because this isn't really formatted great right now. And
should we maybe like make tickets somewhere in GitHub for these things, or is there somewhere that this is being kept track of?
No, there are some tickets, but I haven't had time to go through all that. There's a lot of stuff all over the place. I guess I would like, yeah, it would be great to create tickets, but I don't have an easy answer for doing that right now, because some people, there's some in the Plone theme at Barceloneta, issue tracker, and then there's some in the CMF Plone issue tracker. So that's one task that someone could do, is go through and organize all the tickets and maybe label all the tag all the tickets.
Do we also have someone that's doing QA to look through everything in various browsers?
I don't think we have someone specifically doing that, no.
It's something
What
maybe the
browsers?
user experience team could do.
Which browsers are we supporting officially?
I think IE9 and above. Or is it IE10? I think it's IE9.
I9.
It's a bit tricky for me to know. For example, the news screen that you just showed, where that didn't have the floating images. Would that go to Plone theme Barceloneta? Is that a Barceloneta issue?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a Barceloneta issue. It should be styled on the less files.
Quick ticket there.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
Thanks. Yeah.
A history view needs some work too. If we click on one, this isn't a good example. Here, let's go home. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. An actual div. We need someone needs to go through the history review and make sure it's actually like usable for people. And make sure the menu items are useful. And that's. I'm going to skip over to toolbar right now because that looking through the history kind of showed a problem with the toolbar. It's hard to know which things are clickable, which things are, like we need some better differentiation, or we need a better way to differentiate between items that are clickable and what they're doing. We need better organization in the toolbar. The problem is it seems like with the styles that we use, I think most people are going to want to have the text shown and not just the icons. And with the styles we use, it gets pretty long. It gets to be a lot of items in the toolbar. And so it's hard to have everything listed separately. So we added this more options item, which is where manage portlets is, the display view, and actions. And so some of the things are sort of hidden, and that's a little bit, in general, we just need to talk about how we're going to organize and what we're going to do, what order we're going to put things in. This toolbar can be moved, it can be changed when you click on different things with it. You can just show icons, or you can throw it up top, like that. So related to this, might also, like, this is just, user can edit this and do whatever they want with it. I thought maybe there could be a setting in the control panel to force one location for it, or not allow the user to change it, because maybe some themes don't want to have to theme for all the different positions or something like that. And then here, I'll go back up to folder contents so we can talk about folder contents.
Nathan,
go ahead, Brian.
I thought the point of the toolbar was so that themers didn't have to worry about it at all. They don't have to theme for it.
Yeah, but you still need to know if you're going to like when the toolbar is present, you have to know how to place your content on the page, like so your content isn't covered by the toolbar, or that so you have the right top margin for your main content. But themers are still probably gonna, I don't know, I'm sure there are sites that are gonna want to theme the toolbar. They're gonna say, hey, for our site, we want the toolbar to look like this, and we want different icons and stuff like that. Folder contents is a lot more, it allows a lot more batching operations, and it's faster to use than the previous one. You can upload images, a batch set of images now very easily. And drag and drop works also. And you can one thing that was just identified was if you're here and you want to actually view one of these items, say I click on that folder, there's no easy way except for going to the cog and saying open. Perhaps we need a additional view text so you can quickly view a folder and not stay in the folder contents and not have to go over to the cog. Other things you can do are quickly add and remove tags on all items, change a few properties like publication and expiration date, creators, contributors, and exclude from nav, and rename all the items. And also workflow. So very powerful way to quickly manage your content in batch. So some of the things that are problems for right now is I don't like the styles for this. This needs to match more of Barceloneta and the green and red. I don't know, like someone probably needs to think about it more. And I didn't go over the querying either. That's another feature is you can query the folder. Automatically updates the contents. And right now there's also no way to hook into this. Historically, we'd have add-ons that you could kind of hook into the folder contents view. And I think we need some way of doing that still, but it's a bit more complicated, or we just need good documentation that accompanies it. And it's going to be different because this is all JavaScript. It's not just a button where you're posting to our URL. But we can do it. We just need to think about it. And
something I would like to say about that. I'm guessing that's a mock-up pattern, right?
yes.
The idea behind the patterns, the way they're designed, is that you always are able to fall back to normal normal HTML in the way that it works. What's it called? You have accessibility if your JavaScript is disabled. So the markup should be such that you always have your buttons inside a form, and the form submits properly to some kind of backend that does the right thing if it gets submitted. When you don't have JavaScript enabled, and then the patterns JavaScript just allows this exact same operation that would have been done without JavaScript, but in such a way that Ajax is being used. So the patterns really are meant to be used in such a way that you never have a situation where if your JavaScript is turned off, things break. This does mean that you have to really think about what you're doing, and you have to first write proper working code without JavaScript and then apply the pattern in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't do that. I mean, there's a few other patterns that are like that too, that don't do that also. I mean, that's historically that's been true, but that's not a requirement anymore for accessibility to work without JavaScript.
It's not about the pattern so much. It's about how you write your markup. If you put your buttons inside a form and the form has a URL that it posts to, then that's nothing about the pattern. That's just about how you write your markup, and then the pattern just adds some JavaScript functionality to that.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying that we aren't doing that. Like that hasn't been a focus, and that's something we're not worrying about for administrative stuff. If you want to be an admin in Plone, you have to have JavaScript enabled, and that's just kind of the way we're gonna. It's I don't know. That used to be.
I hear you. I understand, but I could just say, one argument I could just say is, if stuff breaks, if you have buggy JavaScript, or if something there is not working properly, then very often it will still work if you have this accessibility baked in.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit of an extra layer of security. Well, security is not the right word, but extra security in the sense that things generally works without JavaScript. But I agree that it's probably not as important nowadays as it was some years back.
Okay. Well, I think we can talk about that later, but it's kind of a whole nother discussion, I guess. We don't need to go through right now.
Nathan?
Yes.
One of the things that I was hoping to get from this is the theming workflow for Plone 5, even if it's not completely, figured out, but just to get a feel for the workflow for a normal theme.
Okay. You mean using the theme editor?
Well, whatever is the recommended workflow. Right now with Plone 4, I actually hardly use the theme editor.
It's going to be very similar to Plone 4. Barceloneta is a Diazo theme. The only caveat I had mentioned was that right now it's built with Grunt on the command line, so you can't build it right now through Plone for building the production CSS. And that would be nice to get that changed. But if you just copy the Barceloneta theme, or look at that, that's a good example of how you could do one. But you could do the Barceloneta theme in Plone 4 too. It's pretty much the same technology as far as theming goes.
What about the back end? Because what I mean by that is in Plone 4 there is the Sunburst theme, and pretty much most of the themes that I do with Diazo assume Sunburst.
I see. Yeah, we don't do that. There's like a base theme that gives better markup now, and we kind of cleaned up all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, Plone default at least has some styles now. They're very basic.
And Plone default is the base theme for Plone 5.
Yeah, and it's completely empty of any CSS. You can browse and work on the Plone default theme. You get the toolbar and nothing else. Skin it. So it's really with a great markup and without any CSS. So what we did is we forced not to use the resource registry on Barceloneta. So it's a 100% Diazo theme. So if anybody wants to create a theme for Plone 5, they only need to get the Barceloneta theme if they want to base on the Barceloneta theme, or just implement all the CSS that they need.
So how does this work for somebody who has built a complete template in HTML and CSS and now wants to just use Diazo to strap it on to Plone?
As it was in Plone 4?
Well, not necessarily Plone 4. The workflow that we use now is that we literally build everything in separate HTML, CSS, and then we have Diazo rules that just bring everything into Plone.
You can base on Barceloneta and then apply your CSS on top of that, or just modify the less files from Barceloneta, copying all the Diazo theme on your own.
That's a little bit concerning for me, because that would definitely break our workflow. Because we literally I don't know if I could share my screen. No, it's okay. We start with an HTML theme, and that could be done by a designer or anybody, and then we create the other rules that make it work with Plone.
I don't see any reason why you wouldn't still be able to do that, David. I
Right.
think that's still your workflow. I think that would be fine.
But I'm hearing that we have to start with Barceloneta and.
No, I think Ramon was giving you an option that you could start.
Okay,
with
so that's
Barcelona.
one way. That's not necessarily the way.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I guess I just need to try it.
Yeah. All right. And manage portlets is done through here. It's all kind of Ajax now. One place to go. You don't have to keep reloading to get to the different parts of what you're editing. And
Nathan,
yes.
would Content Wells portlets work like this as well?
I haven't tested it, but I guess I don't know. I shouldn't say it should work because I don't know. I haven't tested it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the process of updating the add-ons for Plone 5 too. I hope it does.
A question about the model windows. Do they all have to be that wide, or can we fit them to the content?
What do you? I guess.
Yeah, no, it's just on the for the full width almost.
Yeah.
And stuff is almost scattered around.
Yeah, you can customize the width, and maybe they should be customized a little bit here.
Just for the default style, if it makes sense to make it more content fitting, not the full screen approach.
Right. I think that would probably be specific for the use case too. Like in this case, we have to know, hey, we're managing portlets of just one column. It doesn't need to be so wide. Shrink the size a little bit. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So in manage portlets, I guess I kind of noticed, as far as problems go, maybe some better styles between sections in the manager. There's a case where you have an overlay over the top of an overlay. I know some people are really against that, but sometimes you just need to do it. And then I'll go through site setup.
And what about manage viewlets?
What is that?
Manage viewlets or manage viewlets?
Oh yeah, someone needs to fix manage viewlets. I think actually. Let's see what it looks like.
No.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. Yeah, someone needs to think about how we do that. Yeah, that's a hard problem, I think, because you're trying to show. It'd be nice to show it in line with all the content, but it can really mess up. I mean, it's really how do you look at this? How do you do anything with it, right?
You can disable the author.
You could, and then it wouldn't show in line with the content. And I don't know. Maybe that's better. I don't know. That's an option. What someone brought up with site setup is we have all of the entries listed in order here, just in a list, not with 2 columns, which might make more sense, or even 3 columns. And the reason for this was the idea that it works the same depending on the width of your browser. So if you're on mobile, it's still just one list, and it's easy to remember where to find stuff. I don't know. We can rethink that if people don't like having to scroll down to find some of the entries. But that's the reason why we only have 1 column for this. If we go to add-on.
I didn't catch that. What's the reason why we have 1 column?
Because when you go to a smaller screen size, it's still one column, so you know where to find stuff. Stuff is found in the same order all the time. You don't have to like think, okay, now I'm wide, so this particular site setup entry is on the right side as opposed to down or something like that. It's trying to be consistent with user experience over maybe having it more like over having to do less scrolling. I'm indifferent, but I can see why the choice was made.
Well, presumably, I mean, you could have this break down. If it becomes mobile, then it becomes one long list, as opposed to having it comfortably filling the space.
Right.
Or what if we had one of the panels open by default, like Site, something basic?
I would rather see the overview.
Well, personally, I would like the 3 columns.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, you can have the 3 columns and they collapse over top of each other. It's not a big deal.
Rob, did you just volunteer?
Sure.
All right. One thing I thought of was add-on panel. Right now, there's an activated add-ons and available add-ons. Maybe they should just be one list of add-ons, and it shows if they're active or not, and you just have a toggle to turn them on and off. Resource registry, that's a pretty big, pretty hard place. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a big UI UX problem because there's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of different stuff to think about. And maybe we don't need to worry about it too much because just like Uber administrators are going to be going in this, but it's not super easy. And then another potential issue with it, as JC probably would like to point out, is if someone manages to screw up their JavaScript, what happens with this? Because right now, I think it could potentially make this not show if someone screws up their JavaScript and rebuilds that bundle. Maybe your resource registry bundle isn't allowed to be built through the web, and it's always loaded, the one that's compiled with Plone. There's always a backup of going to the configuration, because all these settings are on the configuration registry. There's always a backup of going there and editing the settings also.
You can disable the Diazo theme and it's still working. It will remove all the JavaScript from the theme.
Okay. Yeah, so that's another option. And it looks horrible. That's what the theming panel looks like too. And I think that's another thing we could consider. Provide an unthemed theme that is maybe a little bit more than, I think this is just some bootstrap styles right now. But maybe we need to have it look a little bit nicer than this. And look at that. I am done with the demo, and it's before an hour up. I guess in general, wait, first off, before I stop the demo, is there anything anybody would like to see that I didn't go through? Just quickly.
Nope, not me.
Nathan, I had a question because I was looking at there was a content layout, and I can't think of the name of where you could lay out panels of content. So I drag in a text block, I drag in an image. I can't remember the name of the product that you had talked about.
You mean like collective.cover?
Yeah. I thought there was one that was going to be included in Plone 5.
No, there's Plone apt on Mosaic.
Mosaic is the one I'm thinking of. That's it.
It's not going to be included in Plone 5. That might be 5.1 or something like that, but it's meant to be used with Plone 5. It would be an add-on.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, we're not covering that right now.
All right.
All right. Well, I will stop this, and I guess I just had a general comment on accessibility. We need, and maybe Rob, we could conscript you to do some of this. We need someone to go through and just tell us where to add ARIA attributes and what needs to be done to make everything accessible. And I think that's just my final comments. If anybody has anything else to discuss, otherwise we're going to let Ramon talk about using the resource registry in Plone 5.
I was not going to talk about the resource registry.
What were you going to talk about?
I was somebody asked for this process, workflow process. I just wanted to point out that all the CSS that you are seeing, it's a combination of two main blocks. The one that's from the mockup patterns, and the toolbar, that's a pattern also. So everything that's a mockup pattern, it's rendered without the diazo. So you can use the site without the diazo, and you get all the CSSs from the mockup patterns. And when you apply the diazo theme, then it's only applied the Barceloneta theme on top of that, and that we forced to not register Barceloneta theme on the resource registry because we want to be a standalone. So you can just get that as a zip file and push to the Plone site without any integration with Plone and any registration on the Plone database. So just wanted to point out that for when we created the Barceloneta theme, we created a bunch of less files, so it's easy to customize and it's easy to adapt to any use case, copying some of the ideas of the Bootstrap and identifying so a less file for each of the functionalities that we have in Plone, for the modal, for the footer, for the drop zone, for whatever. So it's really easy to customize and to adapt to any other issue. So all the issues that we have in the CSS wall in Plone 5, I think that if they are related to any widget, they need to be solved on the widget by itself. If it's a reusability problem or some kind of CSS problem. And if it's related to anything else that you see on the Plone 5 site, like the news folder content, it should be solved on the Barceloneta theme with taking care about the structure of the less files that we have there. Just wanted to point out that.
And I'd also add that it seems, at least in the Plone 5 sites that I've played with, it seems like it's a lot easier to not have to deal with problems between admin styles like widgets and stuff like that not working right with your custom theme. Whereas at Plone 4 it was often painful to make sure your theme still styled all the widgets correctly.
Yeah, that was our idea, to make that the widget always is seen and it's usable from the CSS and the JavaScript, so it's injected by Plone and it's always loaded before the theme from the IASO.
And the styles are separated really nice, so that you don't have much bleeding or anything like that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out this as a way of doing skinning and solving these accessibility problems and UX problems in Plone.
Question: how quickly can you demo a custom theme?
How quickly can I get one implemented? Or
yeah, I'm not talking about implementing it. I'm just saying, how quickly can you grab an HTML template, and it doesn't have to be working, but I just want to see how do you go about doing that?
How I go about, like, I'm wondering what do you want me to just I don't know, like it from getting the initial mapping, is that what you're saying? Mapping of the theme?
No, all right. So in Plone 4 now, I just zip up my file and upload it. it generates a rule file for me and a manifest file, I think. And obviously it doesn't work, but when you enable it, you get the theme showing, and then you can start
Right.
bringing in your Plone content using the Azure rules. So is it as, I'm assuming it's as simple as that. You just upload an HTML file with the corresponding CSS and just switch it on?
Yeah, that story is the same. That doing that process is the same. There's a slightly different UI because that I mean the theme editor has changed a little bit because the previous one was really hard to maintain, and we have a couple of people working on that, but hopefully it's better and better than before. But I think there might be some things that I don't know, but as far as just uploading the new theme, that process is the same and fine. Any other comments, guys? I'm sorry about the problems early on. We'll learn for next time.
Maybe you should document ways of theming based on the experience of the themer or developer, because there will always be several ways to integrate a theme or a design. Yeah, first the zip package, then some integration package, and on and on. So, topic for Arnhem, I suppose.
Sure.
Yeah. Just sorry, go ahead.
Ramon, you're at the anniversary sprint, right?
Yeah, of course.
So are you planning on documentation or Mosaic or?
I still don't know, but I think I'm going to sprint on Mosaic.
Okay, cool.
Just for some context, so you understand why I'm asking so much about the theming. I've been trying to move to a designer-facing workflow. So literally, the designers we work with now don't even know they're using Diazo. We found a way to get them to just work in their own design tool and then hand it off to us. And they don't need to ever know the word Diazo.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think you'll have any problem at all, David. I think your workflow is fine. We didn't really touch much with Diazo. The only big thing is by default now our theme is Diazo, but the workflow of using Diazo and everything has been the same and is stable and is not changing for Plone 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're not the only
good.
company or the only people who work like that. There's definitely other people who also take that approach. So.
All right. Well, anything else, guys? Or okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Again, I apologize for
Thank you.
not knowing about Hangouts on air ahead of time and all that.
It worked out.
Yeah.
And we might have missed a few people though, so it's too bad.
Nah.
Thanks for hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody who wants to be involved in the Plone UI team from here on out, contact Brian, and he'll be putting out more information on Twitter and community.plone.org. And yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See ya.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.